Welcome everybody to Steve's Wrestling Ramble. Here today doing the Money in the Bank prediction show. Obviously you can tell by the theme song that never changes. One pay-per-view out of all the pay-per-views, even the big four, have special songs for their shows that are different each and every year. But Money in the Bank always stays stays the same. As I try to get my camera on, there I am. Stays the same. I want to first welcome my guests. First, excuse me, on Twitter at Josh Ola. Josh, how you doing this evening?
I know. What time is it? Yep. It's about that time to kick this show off. I'm good. Thank you.
And Katrina, how you doing?
Doing well. It's been fantastic.
And my brother from another mother, Mark Rambo, how you doing, co-host?
How are you doing, Steve? How's everything going?
Going well, going well. First question I want to ask off the bat, as you can tell, my excitement. I've always been excited as I've been interacting with all of you on Twitter of how I'm watching some Raw, sitting back, waiting for Money in the Bank, and we're just mere days away. So I want to get everybody's excitement levels. What is your excitement level of Money in the Bank? I assume it might be equal, hopefully equal to mine, but your own level from 1 to 10. First, we'll start off with Josh. What's your excitement level of the 2017 edition of Money in the Bank?
And normally Money in the Bank is one of my favorite pay-per-views, but for this one, it's kind of lackluster. If we're doing a number scale, I'm at about a 5. And that's only because they've added the women's Money in the Bank. So I'm at least interested to see how they handle a women's match in that respect. But for the match itself, it almost seems like a foregone conclusion to me. And I know we're going to get to the later, but what makes Money in the Bank so exciting is that you're supposed to have a bunch of guys all with an equal opportunity to win the briefcase and all who have an equal shot at winning. And to me, there's only one guy who has that shot. Everybody else is either tied up in something else or it just doesn't fit them properly. And the same goes for a lot of the matches on this card. They just seem almost too predictable. And I wish that I could had a better feeling about it, but that's just where it is right now.
Katrina, and then Mark Rambo right after. What is your excitement level for Money in the Bank?
Honestly, I'm quite the opposite. Usually, Money in the Bank is usually one of my least anticipated pay-per-views or ones that I miss or seem to miss most often, actually. However, I'm quite stoked for this one, actually, not just because of the gentlemen that are going to be participating in the men's Money in the Bank, but also the thing where how they work with the ladies. It's I think they have some good talent, some good people on the card this year, so I'm actually pretty stoked for it.
So with that, and Mark Rambo, your excitement.
To be honest with you, the only thing I'm really looking forward to is the women's Money in the Bank match, knowing that it's the first of its kind. Other than that, the men's Money in the Bank match, I'm not super excited for. I mean, there's a lot of elements in the ring, but like Josh said, it's not equal opportunity, so to speak. And really, if I could rate it out of my excitement, I would say a 6, 7. Only because of the Money in the Bank for the women. I'm really excited to see that.
So by hearing this, what I assume, especially for you, Mark Rambo, and again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so you let me know if I'm wrong, but I would assume, at least for you, you don't think Money in the Bank deserves to, as I've said, to be added as with the Big Four, be a Big Five in WWE. What is your response to that, Mark?
I'm going to have to disagree with that because it's so many, in my opinion, there's so many good pay-per-views. I think Money in the Bank definitely is up there. With to be in the top 4 or top 5, like you said, it'll be hard for me to put that in that position because you're going up with Royal Rumble, you're going up with, of course, WrestleMania itself. And sometimes Money in the Bank doesn't deliver as well as it should, considering it's that pay-per-view. I just don't think it honestly should be up in the Big Four, in my opinion.
No, that's fine. Hey, everybody's opinions, even though it's different from mine, I definitely respect it. Josh, what are your thoughts on it? Do you think Money in the Bank has done what I believe it has done, built itself so much that I think it deserves to be with the Big Four, and I even have said it's better than what Survivor Series has been, and it has deserved to even leapfrog Survivor Series in the big, quote unquote, my Big Five?
No, I don't think it should be. It should be one of the big five. I think it was a great deal when it broke out and stopped being sort of an exhibition match as part of WrestleMania. I mean, but that was also what made WrestleMania special. Is you kind of looked forward to the Money in the Bank match at WrestleMania. I mean, WrestleMania is already really big and really long production. So I wish that they would actually cancel the Money in the Bank pay-per-view altogether and put that specialty match back at WrestleMania. Make it special again. Make it in a unique venue where then you can start out fresh, where you have, because right now we're halfway through the year. And so the Money in the Bank holder is going to have just a few months to make a decision on where they want to go with it, and that's fine. But at least if you do it at WrestleMania, you do it at a reset time. To have been crowd, old storylines have ended, new storylines can start, and one of those storylines can already be the Money in the Bank holders, whether it's they do the men's and the women's, but they can start out the whole year and nobody knows what direction they're going to go because we may even have a new champion at that time.
And Katrina, what are your thoughts on the subject?
Actually, I kind of liked what they've done with it, keeping it separate from WrestleMania, though I will agree, having it when it was part of WrestleMania, it was pretty exciting, and it was like quite the spectacle, and as he said, it did do quite the build up. Maybe that's why I can't be too much of a judge. As I've said, if I miss pay-per-views, that's usually the one I miss.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's fine. I'm just here in the live chat. I didn't mean to halt everything, but Ronnie S. and Kyron is here. Kyron saying he'll be here in a few minutes to join us.
Mm-hmm.
He's finishing up work. And Ronnie's saying, I'd like to see King of the Ring return and be part of the Big Five. So I guess I'll let everybody give your reaction to what Ronnie has said. First, we'll start off with Josh. What are your thoughts on that? Maybe just overall, would you ever like to see King of the Ring back as a pay-per-view?
I think if they make the King of the Ring mean something, then yes. Because if you guys remember way back in the day, when you won King of the Ring, it actually mattered. And it was almost like what Money in the Bank eventually became. And they just kind of built it up a little bit and actually gave them, this title shot that they could cash in at any time. But they had that already tied into King of the Ring. So it's almost as if the Money in the Bank became the modern version of the King of the Ring tournament. So I don't know if you would need both of them at the same time, unless you give the King of the Ring winner something even more substantial. You'd have to try to think of what is something that is better than an automatic title shot anytime you want. If you could think of whatever that thing is, then absolutely make a King of the Ring tournament again. And same as the old Money in the Bank, make that part of the WrestleMania spectacle. And if you win King of the Ring, I don't know, who knows? Maybe you can challenge for any belt at any time, or you could pick your own match. You get to pick everything about the match. Maybe you can set all the stipulations or something crazy, but it would have to be something different in order to differentiate itself from the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, and that's what I was actually going to bring up to you, and I'll throw it right back to you, Josh, after I say this point. But I was thinking if they do bring back King of the Ring, have it maybe the winner get an automatic title shot of their choosing at the next pay-per-view. And then obviously WWE would have to place it at the right time, maybe before Survivor Series or before Royal Rumble. Obviously, for anything, we want it to be before WrestleMania and have then the King of the Ring winner getting an automatic title shot for WrestleMania or at WrestleMania. But then that's what the Royal Rumble does for a superstar. Then again, if you book it correctly, you have a Raw brand member win the Royal Rumble and SmackDown having King of the Ring. So the opposite brand having the King of the Ring tournament, then the brand the superstar is a part of that wins the Royal Rumble, if you understand what I'm saying that way. So I think that would be a good idea to have for the King of the Ring, as you said, also their own stipulations, pretty much having this whole match planned. I would just add, okay, you get a title match you're choosing at the very next pay-per-view against whoever the champion is coming out of that said pay-per-view or the pay-per-view previous. What are your thoughts there?
I think if you do something like King of the Ring, it would have to be on a joint show, because that could be what separates King of the Ring from Money in the Bank, which is now a SmackDown exclusive, is that the King of the Ring should, number one, be someone who can be won by either show, Raw or SmackDown, and perhaps give them the ability to challenge for any belt on any show. So you could have potentially someone on Raw challenging the SmackDown champion. And I get that's a little different, and that kind of goes against what the WWE is trying to do with separating brands. But if they want to claim that somebody like John Cena can be a free agent and just float on whatever show he feels like, well, then that rule should apply to everybody. If we're going to introduce free agency as a thing in the WWE like it is in every other sport, then that has to matter. It can't just be we let our biggest star do whatever he wants because he's our biggest star, and we're going to call it free agency. No, if you're going to have free agency, then have free agency, or at least have the King of the Ring winner be able to literally do whatever he or she wants and let them challenge whoever they want, whenever they want.
Mark Rambo, do you think the King of the Ring should come back as a pay-per-view event? How would you book that pay-per-view? And also kind of what Josh was talking about with the free agency with John Cena. Otherwise, what are your thoughts there?
Well, should they bring King of the Ring back? Yes. And the reason why, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. Everything Josh just said kind of was in relation to what I was going to say. If you were to bring back King of the Ring, you can't just, if you were to bring back King of the Ring, it can't just be, a title shot. It has to be more creative. You have to add more of a stipulation to it. It has to have something outside of just a title shot, because usually, we can save money in the bank, for example. They already win they already are able to cash in the case to win a title. So you have to think outside of the box for King of the Ring, knowing that what could possibly happen is already happening. Would it be a good idea to bring it back? Well, sure, why not? I mean, I believe Great Balls of Fire should be definitely out of the equation. You could put that in, King of the Ring in from Great Balls of Fire. But the John Cena free agency, little confused on that. I don't know exactly what that means. Does that mean he could just jump ship whenever he wants? I'm a little baffled by it. But this John Cena we're talking about. At this point, he could pretty much do anything he wants in the WWE. He is Vince's, best friend, closest guy, so to speak. He's the reason why he's, the reason why WWE is for the past like 10 years, so to speak. But I don't get what that means. Maybe rumor has it he's actually going to Raw. To I think it's when Universal or something like that. But this is just what I heard. I'm not saying it's official or anything. But I don't have any I guess you could say opinions about the John Cena free agency thing, because I'm still confused on what the hell that even means. But yeah, it's just we'll have to see what happens with me.
Well, don't forget. I didn't mean to stop you. I thought you were done, but I was just going to say, don't forget this upcoming Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns has something to say about SummerSlam, so John Cena might be the one he's going after, especially if we think what we think is going to happen at WrestleMania between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Why not have Roman Reigns go through John Cena? Kind of like beat the man, want to beat the man. Well, that was Ric Flair, but here in this era, it's John Cena. So that could be what's coming down the turnpike for the Raw brand. And even then, he still would, I would think, if I was booking, he would still be a free agent, even as he's having that match at Great Balls of Fire, a Raw brand exclusive pay-per-view event. And then continue it on, maybe even up to SummerSlam. Which way will he go? Which way will he go? And then have it correlate or go all the way there and then end game there. Him, again, either going Raw, stay on SmackDown Live. I would say it would be best for him to stay on SmackDown Live. But if plans are him to go to Raw, then plans are him to go to Raw, and I'll just have to #deal with it. Katrina, do you think King of the Ring pay-per-view should come back? And what are your thoughts on the John Cena free agent storyline?
If they bring back King of the Ring, which I would absolutely love that they do, I would say they would have to, as it was mentioned before, ditch Money in the Bank pay-per-view altogether, just because, and put it back with WrestleMania, because I do like the concept. I enjoy the matches when I see them, usually on YouTube. But just having all those pay-per-views, it's just too confusing. At least it is for me. And sometimes I guess I'm really easily confused. However, I do agree that it should be both a Raw and a SmackDown pay-per-view, because it wouldn't make much sense for something of that magnitude if they want to make it a big deal for it to be just exclusive to one brand. Perhaps like something similar. I suppose what was it, SummerSlam that they did, where they had teams, both Raw and SmackDown teams fighting in a match for was it 8-man match or something along those lines. And I agree that they should be able to up the ante to go for any title within their fiscal year on any brand to make it more interesting. If they want to pick a stipulation, absolutely. They want to have a Hell in a Cell, a cage match, a street fight. That would be pretty sweet, actually. And yeah, but I would say if they would bring back King of the Ring, should have to either replace Great Balls of Fire or the Money in the Bank. Just because King of the Ring just seems to me is much more important, much more valuable than Money in the Bank, but that's just me. As for the John Cena bit, as I just mentioned, it's not too hard to confuse me, and I'm lost exactly where they're going with John Cena. I don't know if there's going to be an angle. Is he going to infiltrate? Is it going to be New World Order? Is he going to go there because he can? And because he's John Cena, and we got to recognize that and whatnot. I'm on the fence. I mean, as I said, he's John Cena and can basically do, I'm sure, whatever he likes within the company. And so I have no idea just because I'm lost as to what they're going to do for him. And it sounds like an interesting concept, so I'm game for anything new. I might be easily confused, but I'm also easily entertained. So I'm up for anything.
Sounds good. So today, I don't mind. I always like hearing about the NWO. I wouldn't mind them coming back, and if John Cena has to be the leader of it, so be it. But as much as that's not happening, definitely wouldn't mind it either. There, Mark, either. But also, I want to talk about the only other news that at least I have. I don't know what you guys and gal. Is the elephant in the room about Bray Wyatt?
Yeah.
His wife finally forced, I guess. What she's saying, rumors with JoJo Anderson, formerly of Total Divas, former ring announcer, and still technically on WWE payroll, doing God knows what. I haven't seen her in a while, unless I missed something. But Mark, give your thoughts on the situation.
Okay. Honestly, Bray Wyatt was the last person I would ever expect with JoJo. Honestly, I was never expecting these two to link up. But hey, anything could happen. Clearly, something happened between them. When it comes to, you know, the whole divorce thing, I don't even want to get into all that stuff because that's more personal things. But I'm curious how that would affect Bray, considering that it's already got the publicity that it has now. Like, what if it ends up affecting his character, considering it did that with Xavier Woods, so to speak, just a little bit, so to speak. I don't know. I mean, hey, Bray Wyatt, she's kind of good looking, so he made a good choice. I mean, I don't know. It's just I want to see what happens now. I want to see how they end up doing things. Maybe it will kind of calm down over time, and less people will pay attention to it, or maybe it will keep escalating, and more people would start staying in tune to the situation. But hopefully, it doesn't mess up Bray, because I don't want his character to fail, and he has to have an absence, so to speak. Because honestly, I like Bray Wyatt. I want to see him get the WWE Championship again sometime in the future. But right now, I don't think that's going to happen. But hey, I don't know.
Katrina?
I'm kind of on the fence because I'm one that I'm married and I'm a big, huge fan of being married or anything like that. So if there's any kind of infidelity within a committed relationship, that always makes me sad. However, I'm also one of those I don't really listen to rumors a whole lot unless it comes from an official source, just because, it's the internet and anyone can put anything on there. Is there a high possibility of something happening? Absolutely, because it just happens, I'm sure. I mean, people are still humans at the end of the day. Does it make it right? No, but people are still human. I really don't think it's going to affect them too much, just because like the whole Xavier Woods sex tape page thing that blew over. I mean, and I don't think anything's going to happen within the company itself, because that place is like a bizarre, unusual form of incest. I mean, if they punished anybody who was banging each other, they wouldn't have a roster. So, and I'm sure you get bored on the road, so there's probably not a whole lot to do but each other. It makes me sad, and I am also a huge mark for Bray Wyatt. I would love to see him continue on in his career and become WWE champion and have a meaningful reign in the future. So, and like I said, who knows what happens behind closed doors? Who said, she said, and yeah, that's me.
Okay. And last but not least, Josh, your thoughts on the whole matter?
Well, I mean, divorce is par for the course in WWE. I mean, think about it. Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Ultimate Warrior, or not Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage. All of these men have gone through a divorce. So, divorce is nothing new here in this business. And really, a lot of people wonder, well, why don't they just go out on the road, and they're not spending a lot of time at home, so why would they get married to quote unquote normal people? It's only natural that the people who get married in the WWE would be the superstars who work and live in close proximity the entire year round. And you can look at somebody like John Cena and Daniel Bryan, and yeah, that makes a little bit more sense for them to be married to someone within their same business. But there's also a legal issue. WWE doesn't refer to their talent as employees. They're technically called independent contractors, and that allows the WWE to file their taxes on them in a different way. And this is good for the WWE, but it's bad for the wrestlers because they get taxed in a double taxation scenario. And that's the reason why a lot of them do get married, maybe to other people who aren't in the business, because it allows them to take advantage of tax loopholes. The problem with that, though, is that this is why something like a union, the idea of WWE superstars and professional wrestlers in general forming a union, like a labor union, comes up every couple of years and ultimately goes nowhere because there just isn't a lot of clout to get behind it. But they end up getting screwed out of a lot of money if they don't get married to somebody. And that's the easiest way to take advantage of some of these taxes and things like that. So like Katrina said, it's an unfortunate scenario. A lot of us here are married, and we understand that those kinds of things happen. And sometimes you can't. And it sounds like it's getting pretty nasty too. I mean, I as well don't know if these rumors are true. Nobody has confirmed it. Nobody has said so. I mean, people have seen Bray Wyatt and JoJo appearing at shows together and leaving together. So is there a relationship there? Yeah, probably. I mean, we're not morons. We can figure out that something has happened there. But is it as nasty as his wife is making it out to seem? That we're just not going to know. Quite frankly, I really don't care. I mean, they're going to get divorced, and the divorce will be over, and Bray Wyatt will move on, and it's not really going to affect his WWE career in any way. So therefore, it doesn't matter to me.
And
no, go ahead, Mark.
Oh, one thing I was going to say was, if anybody can answer this, how exactly did Bray Wyatt's wife find out about this? Because that's the thing that was on my mind. She says it, but how does she actually know outside of pictures? Maybe I heard what it was on his phone, it was repeated calls going towards her, being JoJo. But that's really all I heard, and I don't even know if that was from his wife. I just heard that's what it said. So if anybody knows, I mean, I'll be happy to know how exactly.
They always find out.
I was going to say, you can't really go by pictures. I mean, there's always superstars pictured together and friendly. Doesn't always mean that they're in a relationship. Heck, Seth Rollins' picture with Sasha Banks it was innocent because Sasha's married. It's whatever. These superstars are in close quarters to each other. They are going to interact, friendly otherwise. And yeah, unfortunate situation, obviously, with that family. But again, everybody here has said. We don't know for sure, confirmed of the rumor with JoJo actually in a romantical physical relationship, but we'll see when the truth does come out. Because like anything, like any story, any situation, there's their side, other side, the truth. There's always three sides of the story. So we'll certainly find out what the actual truth is. Is there any other news or things you guys that people want to bring up before we do the predictions? I assume not, but I at least want to ask everybody. So, Mark, is there anything you want to bring up before we dive into the pay-per-view?
I'm A-OK, Steve.
Katrina?
I'm good.
And Josh?
Ready to dive.
All right, let's go. It's time. Money in the Bank. Let's dive into some money. Money in the Bank 2017 edition. Starting off, we'll start off actually with the SmackDown Live Women's Championship match. Naomi, champion, against Lana in her first ever one-on-one match. We'll start with Mark. Who do you have winning this match and why?
Considering what happened at Backlash with Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal, I would like to say Naomi, but something's telling me that Lana could possibly pull an upset just like Jinder. But just to be safe, I'm going to go with Naomi on this one. I just feel like if they do something like that, it wouldn't be best for quote-unquote business because Lana, of course, obviously known, Rusev, and now she's getting her own gimmick, and I'm assuming it's working out well. But thing is, she, in my opinion, isn't getting that great of a push that she needs to actually win this belt. I think it's possible that she can get it in the near future, but as of right now, coming fresh off of being a new face, being a fresh face on SmackDown, it's a little too early for her to win the belt. So I'm going with Naomi on this one.
All right, Katrina, who you got?
Naomi. And I'll agree with what he says. It's just too soon for Lana. I'm sure she has the charisma and everything like that and the potential, and it's a pretty sweet move that she did on Naomi on SmackDown, but that was just one move. But she did do it in a ball gown, although I did know that she did kick off her heels. Did it barefoot. But just not right now. I think this is more like just to showcase, one to keep Naomi looking strong and to showcase Lana.
And Josh.
The problem we have with Naomi is that she hasn't really been treated as a good champion. I mean, she's lost a lot of matches on TV, or at least been made to look weak. What Katrina brought up. I mean, her heel comes in and jumps on her from behind. So everything they've done hasn't really made her out to be anything great. That being said, if she loses to Lana, it'll bury her even further. So what they need to do is they want to make a strong case for Naomi to be a strong woman in the division. Losing to Lana is not the way to do that. Even if they tried to pull some shenanigans and then the Money in the Bank beats Lana, well, then you've wasted that opportunity as well. And what was the point for losing at all? So I don't think that there's any Naomi loses. I think everybody is kind of on the same page. It's just way too soon. And Lana, the crowd isn't familiar with her wrestling style. They don't know if she's proven. They don't know if she could legit beat anyone in a wrestling match. I mean, attacking somebody from behind does not make a wrestler great. So we're going to be able to see the best thing I think she can do in this match is hold her own, have a good performance, and then maybe somewhere down the line, we can look at this thing. Money in the Bank. Yes, she deserves a title shot or she deserves to win. But right now, no. Naomi.
Kyron, how you doing?
What's up, Steve? I'm doing good. How are you guys? I'm tired, but what's up with you?
Doing well. And hey, good timing and coming on. First match here, Naomi versus Lana for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Who do you have winning the match and why?
Naomi. I would say, well, Lana's not even had a singles match to begin with. So I don't know, like, her having a title shot is a good idea. I wouldn't say don't bet on it, but since Jinder Mahal's WWE champ right now, anything's possible. But with that being said, there's no way I'm picking Lana to beat Naomi. I'll be completely surprised if that does happen, but I wouldn't bet on it. So I'm going with Naomi.
All right. And for me, I'm gonna go with Naomi to win. I wouldn't be surprised if Lana wins. If we do see Lana winning the championship, I do see a cash in. A same night cash in there. We're having the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Win and also make history twofold. Have that woman also cash in and win the championship at the namesake at the same pay-per-view event
Yeah, I agree with
this year.
I agree with that. I was thinking the same. Like when I said I would tell you guys today about that, I do think that if Lana does win, which is a huge if, I do have whoever wins Money in the Bank to cash in on her, and we'll talk about the Money in the Bank match in a few minutes. But
Well, actually, we'll be talking about it right now. First ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella. In this match, let's start with Katrina this time. We are winning this match and why?
Carmella, and with the help of Ellsworth.
Ellsworth.
Sorry. It's like a parasite fungus that you can't get rid of. But that's my prediction that she's gonna have a cheat win via Ellsworth. And I'm gonna call it that she cashes in that night.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, all right. Anyways, Mark Rambo, what do you have?
Well, of course, Steve. We know you don't mind that. You love Carmella.
Right, obviously. Oh, come on. Be my girl.
Man, I want to say, Jesus, Lord. I want to say, damn, I don't know. I honestly don't know. A side of me is saying Charlotte. A side of me is saying,
to win.
But to be honest, completely honest with you, I'm gonna have to go with Carmella. Honestly, I don't see Natalya even getting close because I would just be upset considering the fact this is a first time thing. Natalya's gotten no push. Honestly, don't think right now she deserves to have a title shot. Charlotte could easily get it because her last name is Flair. Becky Lynch, I mean, she's up there. I think it's either her or Carmella. I don't even remember who are on it. I'm gonna go with Carmella in this one. That's kind of a wild card. Somebody you wouldn't expect. So I'm going with.
All right, Karen. You can do your prediction for the women's ladder match after you're done, if you can. When you're not on air, you can be on mute. But who do you have winning the women's ladder match?
well, just like what I did my prediction video 2 days ago, I'm gonna do process of elimination. Charlotte and Becky are the two best women's wrestlers on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna they're out of it because neither one of them really needed, especially Charlotte because she's Charlotte. You can rule Natalya out because she's gotten so many opportunities in WWE and never really got ran with any of them. And Tamina, no one really cares about that much. So Steve, get ready to be happy because I'm picking Carmella as well. I feel that if they like both Money in the Bank ladder matches, and I'll talk about the other one later, should be about building new stars and giving new people a chance. And while it'd be easy to pick Charlotte and Becky because they're the best, if we're building to the future and giving new people a chance, I'll pick Carmella because I think I see potential in her. I really do. So I'm picking Carmella. Ellsworth does not get involved.
Ellsworth is getting involved.
Shut up, Mark. He's not.
There he is.
Oh, unless he takes a backplex off a ladder, that's the only way I'll accept him being involved in this match.
Hey, you never know. This is James Ellsworth we're talking about, bro. I mean, he's been involved pretty much every other match Carmella's been in, so why not now?
Good point.
All right, let's keep this Carmella train running. Josh, who do you have winning the women's first ever Money in the Bank ladder match?
Anyone who thinks that James Ellsworth is not getting involved has never watched professional wrestling. Of course he's going to get involved. Of course he's going to get a win. That's his job. That's his only role. The guy's a walking Ed Hardy t-shirt. He serves no function than to interfere on her behalf and do things on her behalf. And shortly after the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, we're going to see him carrying around that briefcase like a puppy right behind her, and she does her Staten Island thing and is really annoying, and he's going to be back there being super annoying, carrying the case for her and interfering in all kinds of other things. But we've been over the myriad of reasons why all the other people won't win. Charlotte's too obvious of a choice. Tamina's too. They say, oh, she's the dark horse. Well, that's exactly why she won't win either. Becky's the only other person who I think they could give a slight advantage to. But the Money in the Bank winner is traditionally a heel. It's not a face. So you can't give it to someone like her who is unlikely to cash it in at the moment when you would have to and essentially screw somebody over, because that's the whole point of what makes Money in the Bank fun. Whereas Carmella is exactly that kind of person who would do exactly that with the help of Mr. Ellsworth. So Carmella's going to take it.
She's going to cash in that night.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to say. That's one of my predictions. I'm going with Carmella for the win and to cash it in right away. As entertaining and interesting as it would be, as Mark and Josh brought up, of James Ellsworth actually carrying around the briefcase while Carmella does her thing, would be interesting. I don't see that happening because I see her winning and then cashing in the same night. I do see both Money in the Bank ladder matches, obviously, at least in my opinion, both Money in the Bank ladder matches happening before their respective title matches. To have that, Eric Austin, thinking of the WWE Universe, will there be a cash in? Will there be? Yeah, we might think there's a high probability of it not happening. Sure, fine. That's everybody's opinion and thoughts on that. But just the fact that there's could be even a little bit of that, entertaining that thought while we're watching the show, while we're tweeting and interacting with each other, that, hey, will there be a cash in? Would it make sense to do it? Now, who do we think? Do we think someone else is going to win the title because of who won the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men and women? Both of them. So that interest is by this pay-per-view. Obviously, this year would be even better than the ones of the past. And again, I will be going with Carmella for the win and Carmella to cash in the same night, just like my boy Dean Lunatic Fringe Ambrose cashed in last year, the 2016 edition of Money in the Bank, to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So that's my prediction. Their next match, SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, the Usos versus the New Day. The New Day, kind of like Lana, getting a title match if they're finally coming to SmackDown Live. Let's start this time with Josh. Who do you have winning this match and why?
All right, the magic number here is 80. Usos have held the titles for roughly 80 days. Heath Slater and Rhino held them for about 80 days. American Alpha held them for about 80 days. And so that's pretty much how long the Usos are going to hold it. New Day has come back. They've made their grand introduction in Louisiana. It was fantastic. Crowd went nuts. Everybody loved them. And so now everything's going well for them. You've got Xavier Woods. He's back on TV. Nobody's really, everyone needed time to miss the New Day, because myself included, I was getting a little tired of them. They were growing stale. So time away is not always a bad thing. And so now they've come back and everything it feels new again. And that's what makes them so exciting. So I think that because Kofi got a chance to heal up too, he had an injury not that long ago, and the New Day is best when they're all healthy and undistracted. And so this is the perfect opportunity for you have some of their best mic workers to have a guaranteed segment on every show, because they're needed. They're needed to boost up ratings. You need their energy. You need somebody like that to carry such a show forward. And the Usos can still be the Usos. They can still be this new persona as the heels and try to go chasing everybody and try to get their titles back from New Day. And while New Day thwarts them at every turn. And as long as we just remember that day one is always H.
Katrina, before you give your prediction, I just want to that those that are watching live, you're also welcome to share your predictions for each and every match while we go through them with your reasons why, and I'll state them on the air as well. So, Katrina, who do you have in this match in particular?
I'm going to have the Usos. Retaining just for a little while longer, not much, but I'll agree with what you just said. Is I noticed that each week the New Day wasn't getting as much of a reaction as they had been, so each day just be a little less. So when they came out in Nolans with their entrance, was I thoroughly enjoyed very much. I was rather actually excited to see them. So but it seems most people were excited to see him, and so I'm glad to see everyone is healthy and doesn't look like they lost their touch. But I don't think it's going to be the New Day taking the titles off them. Honestly, I think it's Breezango is going to be the ones taking the titles off of them in the near future, I would say. Not just because they're my favorite tag team right now, just because I love the fashion police bit. I think it's some people shows the talent that both gentlemen have to take such an awful gimmick and make it work and make it good and entertaining. But I've noticed they are getting more and more over with the WWE universe, and they are I think they're going to take a chance on them and make them the next tag team champions. Or KB, just my wishful thinking.
Gavin, who you have winning this match and why? Gavin?
Yeah, I heard you. I was telling the people around me to turn down their music. I'm picking the New Day to win the tag team titles, or if not win the titles, they'll win by disqualification. Because they're the New Day. They're arguably still the most popular team in WWE. And even though the Usos have been on arguably the run of their lives and this is the best I've ever seen out of them, especially character-wise, I really do think Day is going to give the titles to the New Day. Even though they will not hold it for over a year like they did last time, because that started to get really boring and stale toward the like in half of that reign. Besides the match between them and Sheamus and Cesaro, but I will say I love their entrance Thursday in Louisiana with the band. That was awesome. Problem is they should have saved that for WrestleMania in New Orleans next year. They should have saved that. But it was great to see it on SmackDown. And yes, they will be winning the SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
All right, Mark Rambo, who have winning this tag team title match? The Usos to retain, or the New Day to become the new tag team champions for SmackDown Live?
Fuck. I'm gonna have to go with the Usos with this because I'm gonna have to agree with Katrina. I think what's gonna happen is the Usos are gonna retain, right? The Usos then lose to Breezango. Breezango goes against New Day. That'll give a legitimate time for New Day to kind of come back, get their little momentum going, and then win the belts. And they can have a good match, Breezango and New Day, in my opinion. Breezango, I mean, literally, this dude, whatever his name is, Fandango went to Johnny Curtis from NXT to Fandango to now, a part of Breezango, which is probably the last thing I've ever expected. And I think Breezango is definitely getting the push of their life. They're getting a very, very, very good push, and they're going through too. They're getting a good, genuine reaction. Them beating, the Usos before New Day, because the last match that they had, in my opinion, was, I loved it. They definitely put on a show. That's what I'm saying. I don't see New Day beating them just yet. I see Breezango and New Day going against each other, so I'm gonna have to take the Usos on this one.
Yeah.
New Day will definitely get a chance though.
Shout out to the live chat to Ronnie S. saying that his prediction is the Usos to retain here. New Day on the hunt till SummerSlam. So he's saying New Day probably win the tag team titles in his booking to win the SmackDown Live tag team titles at SummerSlam. For me, I'm going to go with the Usos to retain here. What I actually see happening at SummerSlam, and you guys, all of you, know my infatuation, love, enjoyment of multi-superstar matches. That's why I love Money in the Bank. That's why I like Royal Rumble, Fatal Five Ways, Elimination Chamber matches, stuff like that. So at SummerSlam, I see maybe even a Fatal Five-Way tag team title match, and I actually see a team that was supposed to win it a while ago, but due to an injury, that obviously did not happen, and that's the Hype Bros. I see the Hype Bros capturing the tag team titles at SummerSlam.
No!
Multi-man tag team championship match for SmackDown Live side of the brand of WWE, and then going from there. So that's my prediction. It seems like Mark has something to say. What do you think?
Oh no, I was laughing at Kyron. Just the sudden, disappointment. the shout, funny.
You know why I had that reaction. Since you said hype bros, you know why.
You hate Bojo?
I don't like him.
What's wrong with
Our next
Bojo?
match, the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. We have the United States champion Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Lone Wolf Baron Corbin. Mark, I'll let you go first. You see winning this match and why? And do you think there will be a cash in here on the men's side on Sunday?
Well, who do I think is gonna win? To be honest with you, I don't have a legitimate one. Like, I don't have one person to be exact. I honestly think it would be Sami Zayn or Shinsuke, but I'm leaning more on Shinsuke Nakamura. But do not forget, Baron Corbin could definitely win this. I think he's been, getting the push long enough that he can win this Money in the Bank. See anybody cashing it in? Absolutely not. Because, when we get to that, I'll explain to you why. I don't, it's really hard for me between those three. Sami Zayn has deserved this for God knows how long. I feel like he should have been at least champion 2 times already. He's just, being mistreated, so to speak. But I'm gonna have to go with, damn. You know what? Hell, fuck it. I'm going with Baron Corbin. Let's try something different. I'm going with Baron Corbin on this one. He's the lone wolf. He's also the sleeper, in my opinion. I'm going with Baron Corbin. You guys probably think differently, but fuck it, I don't care.
Oh, no, that's not a bad pick. I mean, at least from what I've been reading online everywhere, that Baron Corbin actually odds-on favorite. Kyron, who do you have winning this and why?
Remember a few weeks ago, Steve, when I said that I knew I was picking him back then, but in barring injuries, he was still my pick?
Yep.
That still remains. I'm picking Baron Corbin as well. And here's why. Just like the women's match, process of elimination. AJ and Kevin were already world champions over the last year. Plus, AJ is the best wrestler in the world and probably back in the main event scene very shortly. And Kevin's U.S. champion is in the middle of a feud with Nakamura. So that rules Kevin out as well, and Nakamura for that. Ziggler already won Money in the Bank before. Plus, he has the least amount of momentum, and he needs it probably at least. So you can forget about Ziggler. So again, it comes down to Zayn and Corbin. And I think Zayn's going to come so close. He's going to have his fingertips on that case, and Corbin's going to blast him off the ladder, and Corbin's going to win. Because SmackDown also needs main event heels with Miz leaving, Bray leaving, and AJ turning babyface. They need some new main event heels. So up and coming heel, Baron Corbin.
Nice. Katrina, who do you? Katrina, let's keep this Baron Corbin train going. Who do you have winning the men's Money in the Bank ladder match? Katrina?
Katrina?
Katrina, are you there? All right, let's go on to Josh. Who do you have?
Well, I got another magic number for you guys, and that number is 17. There have been 17 Money in the Bank ladder matches. Can anybody tell me how many of those matches were won by faces? Not many.
3?
I was cool.
By an overwhelming majority, heels win Money in the Bank. That's what Money in the Bank is designed for. It's designed to give it to a heel because then it will be cashed in at an opportune time. So all signs point to somebody like Baron Corbin. And I like Baron Corbin in this match, and I think he's going to win this match, mostly because he's had such a really an up and down, a real bumpy road to get here. He wins the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which still means nothing. Winning that has brought no accolades to anyone other than it doesn't give him anything other than, hey, you won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Well, so what? So until they make that mean something, it's not really a big resume booster. So he wins that, and then he gets to fight on the pre-show at WrestleMania this year. I mean, okay, sure, he's there, he's at the show, he's performing at the show, but it is still the pre-show. I was at WrestleMania. I didn't even watch the pre-show, and I was there. I was drinking in the parking lot, just getting hammered drunk, but I didn't even want to see it. I'm glad I missed it. because I watched it later and I'm like, oh, I had no reason to watch this because it was boring. And Baron Corbin is a much better wrestler than that. He deserves better. So I think I don't know who it's going to come down to. I think it's a good prediction that it will come down to him and Sami Zayn, because Zayn has been getting the better of him lately. So what better than for Corbin to finally get the upper hand than when it matters most, and actually at the pay-per-view. And he's going to be our Money in the Bank champ.
Hey, that's what I like to hear, guys. Baron Corbin, that's who I have as well. Baron Corbin winning, just like I have Carmella winning. For the women, do I see cash in for the men? No. Again, we saw it last year with Dean Ambrose. And as our number cruncher over there, Josh, pointed out, of heels most of the time winning the briefcase over the faces, which makes the most sense as he explained himself there. So that's another reason why I'm going with Baron Corbin. I actually see it coming down to Baron Corbin and AJ Styles for some reason at the end. Yes, it makes more sense to be it against Sami Zayn, but for me, I just see AJ being in the mix toward the end. Kevin Owens and Shinsuke knocked themselves out in my eyes early with Shinsuke's winning streak against Kevin Owens at SmackDown Live. That's going to build up to that being the next feud for Kevin Owens and for Shinsuke, obviously, for the United States Championship moving forward after Money in the Bank on the road to SummerSlam. So that could be one of our SummerSlam matches. Moving forward, I want to quickly look here on the live chat. Ronnie S. saying, I'm hoping to see AJ win. I'm not sure about a prediction, but I'll definitely say Sami Zayn won't win. And he was saying earlier he agrees with Kyron. He said there about the match. So there are predictions. There now, the main event, or what I believe should be the main event, the WWE Championship match, the modern-day Maharaja, WWE Champion, Jinder Mahal against the Viper, Randy Orton, in his hometown. Remember, it's the St. Louis, Missouri, people. His father's going to be there. Other legends are going to be there. So you know that Orton should lose this match, right? So let's start with who you have winning this match and why.
Was it me?
Yes, Josh.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't. What I don't understand is why you even have brothers out there. Jinder Mahal is not a small dude, so Jinder Mahal going against Randy Orton is not exactly an unfair fight. So I don't see any reason why the Singh brothers should be interfering other than just for the typical heel reason. That being said, I think Mahal wins this match, and I'd like to see him win clean over Randy Orton because I've never been a big Randy Orton fan. I know a lot of people just mark out for him, and he has, he's had some fantastic moments. But as far as character progression, he's essentially been the same wrestler his whole career. He's never really gone under any major character shift. Quite frankly, he's boring. His last run as champion was supremely boring. So do I want to suffer through another one of those? Not really. At least Jinder Mahal generates heat. He generates a lot of heat. I mean, bringing the carpet out into the ring and speaking to everybody in Punjabi, it just really gets everybody going. Not only that, but Mahal retaining will set up SummerSlam. And I think what we're going to see at SummerSlam is a John Cena versus Jinder Mahal match, which works in the tried and true All-American versus the Foreigner. It's a formula that the WWE has done ever since the 80s, since way back in the day. I mean, you can point to the Iron Sheik, you can point to Nikolai Volkov, you can point to anyone who was not an American. And all you got to do is put them against somebody who represents everything America is, and it's an automatic win. Okay, Mahal's from Canada, so it's like that's America's hat. Not that big of a difference, but still, he's playing up this foreigner character. And so I think we're going to see Mahal and Cena at SummerSlam so that Cena can win his 17th championship and break the all-time record. But that means Mahal's got to retain and keep it until then.
Mm-hmm. And then when that happens, Twitter, internet, Facebook going to break when John Cena does that. But before we get to Kyron and his prediction, I did want to throw a hot spot to Josh first and then moving forward. What are your thoughts on what I'm thinking that could be going down? And that's Rusev making an appearance during the WWE Championship match. Now, remember, Rusev, he was supposed to come back on the SmackDown Live after Backlash because he said he was not going to – well, he first said he's not going to be on SmackDown Live until he is given a championship match by Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan. Then he said he was going to come to SmackDown Live to confront Shane McMahon about said demands. That never happened. So did they just actually drop it and we're never going to hear about it again? Or is it dropped and people are thinking we're never going to hear about it again because it's all going to lead up to Money in the Bank, WWE title match, Rusev coming in there and just, pardon my language, just fucking shit up for SmackDown Live in their main event. And then they go off the air with a disqualification. Jinder keeps his title, and the question being, what's Shane McMahon going to do on Tuesday with Rusev?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. I mean, I hate when, especially championship title matches end on a DQ. I don't think championship matches should automatically be no DQ, simply because from a storyline perspective, if I'm the champ, then as soon as the match starts, all I got to do is leave, and I'll get counted out and I'll retain, and I don't have to even fight. So why would I even bother? So, that's just a little thing that I have. But I think, would Rusev coming back and interfering in this match make a lot of sense? To me, no, only because they haven't really built up his frustration on SmackDown. I mean, they've mentioned it on Talking Smack and some other venues, but if it was going to be that major of a storyline, it would have been on SmackDown. You would have had Rusev showing up, or at least making his presence known that he was unhappy on the show, and kind of confronting Shane McMahon, and then him threatening Shane McMahon, something like that, to really give us that, will he or won't he interfere? If he's going to interfere in anything, I could see him interfering in Lana's match versus Naomi, because they've been apart for so long. So it would be a shock if he showed up to maybe support her, but she's so surprised to see him, or just something of that nature. She gets distracted and then she loses that way. That gives her an out anyway, so that she doesn't look weaker. And I would support that decision over him going and actually interfering in the main event. So, because I want to see Jinder Mahal win clean against Orton. I want to see him get some character credibility. So as of right now, he's not booked on the show. I know that doesn't really mean anything in the world of pro wrestling. He is booked to be on the SmackDown. There were a lot of reasons why he didn't show up to the previous SmackDowns, like legit non-kayfabe reasons of why he couldn't show up, and why they decided to delay him. And most of it was because they simply didn't know what to do with him. From a storyline perspective, they can't just put a camera on him and say, here, do stuff. It has to be building towards something, and it has to mean something. And there wasn't them to write it in. So whether or not they've actually solved that problem and written him into the pay-per-view, I don't think so. I think they're going to save it until SmackDown, because they have to solve the Lana problem. They can't just separate them and act like they never had a big thing. So they have to figure out some way to work those two into the storyline together. So I don't see him playing a role, if any.
Yeah, that's interesting. You were talking about with him maybe being a part of the women's championship match with Lana. I'm on the other belief, on the other side of the aisle, of thinking that they should be just kept separated. If anything, I thought you were going to say, and what I'm thinking now, if anything, he might mess up the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Maybe not the title match, but the ladder match. I mean, didn't Bray Wyatt once do that during a Money in the Bank ladder match a couple years ago? So maybe that being the case this year, I don't know. What is your retort to that, Josh?
I think, I mean, that Rusev is kind of the wild card here, in that if they can't figure out exactly what to do with him in a particular story, that's an easy solution, is just throw him in the Money in the Bank ladder match and have him come down and interfere with it, and interfere with somebody and cost them a win. And then he leaves. That way, everybody sees Rusev. He's back with his short haircut. Everybody marks out because they're super happy. But he doesn't have to do anything, really, really impactful in a particular storyline other than that one. If the conclusion is already, as a lot of us have decided, that Baron Corbin is going to win, Rusev is not really going to interfere with Corbin particularly. It would just be interesting to see, well, then which person does he screw over? Is it somebody who's tied to Shane McMahon? I mean, this is, when I start thinking of these things, I try to look at it from a rational story perspective. Who would Rusev want to screw over in the Money in the Bank ladder match? Is there someone there who he's feuded with? Does he have a particular beef with any of those guys? I don't really think so. So other than just to make it uncomfortable for Shane McMahon, sure. I mean, you could ride that train and take it down these tracks as far as you want to go, but does it really, really legitimately make sense for him to do that? Which means the WWE is probably going to do exactly that.
And Kyron, who do you have winning the WWE Championship match, and do you see Rusev making an appearance at the pay-per-view at all?
Firstly, honestly, no, I don't really see Rusev making an appearance. It would be pretty funny if everyone was just laid out in the Money in the Bank ladder match, she just ran and climbed up and grabbed a briefcase. That'd be pretty. Don't lie, that would be funny to see.
Yeah, that would be. That would be.
But I honestly don't even think the WWE title match is going to be the main event to end the show. I think the Money in the Bank ladder match will. But I just want to say it's too bad my friend of me, Raunchy Mike, is not here for this because I'm picking the modern day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, to retain the title for two things. One, like you said, Steve, you think he's going to hold it for at least 3 months around SummerSlam. I agree with that. And two, and most importantly, this is in Randy Orton's hometown. We all know WWE has a fetish with people losing in their hometowns. And Rich Swann at Extreme Rules does not count because I don't even think Vince McMahon knew he's from here in Baltimore. So that doesn't count. Whenever someone has a match building up in their hometown, they always lose. So I'm picking Mahal to retain the title. But honestly, I don't really care for this match because the shock value of Mahal winning wore off, which is why I was interested in that Backlash match because we all were because we didn't believe he would honestly win. Well, besides from Mark. But here I really don't care for this match. I'm picking Mahal to win, but I really hope the Money in the Bank ladder match is what closes the show. I want to respond to what Josh said about Cena coming back to challenge him at SummerSlam. Now I'm a Cena fan, so of course I wouldn't mind seeing that. But I don't really want to see that at SummerSlam. I want Cena face Nakamura at SummerSlam because I think that'd be a really big money match. And as we all know, Cena never wins at SummerSlam anyway, and he usually has one of the top matches at that show. So him versus Nakamura at SummerSlam would be a great match. Nakamura goes over, and everyone's happy about it. Plus, I think he's gonna get a title match at WrestleMania because I'm not saying he's gonna win the Royal Rumble, but I just think he was supposed to have that main event match against Undertaker, which was taken from him, which it pissed me off. But so he's supposed to have that main event then. So I think they're gonna give him a title match at WrestleMania. But for SummerSlam, I got him facing Nakamura, or they're gonna announce him versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Either way, that's what I see Cena happening with Cena. But I think, like I said, Mahal's gonna retain. Rusev won't get involved.
And Mark, who do you have winning in the WWE title match? And do you think Rusev will show up on screen?
I think Jinder Mahal is definitely going to win this one. This match will still have the Singh brothers involved, but not as much. I think what's going to happen is, Jinder Mahal is going to win. People are still going to not believe the fact that he actually picked up a win for the second time against Randy Orton. But what I think is going to happen is right after that, Rusev is going to come out and attack Jinder Mahal, which will technically end the show. Rusev will probably come out the beginning of SmackDown to go on this full-blown rant, probably. Jinder Mahal could probably come out. Randy Orton could probably come out, which would leave Randy Orton and Rusev as a main event for Tuesday night. I definitely see Rusev being in it also because he's been so quiet. It's kind of as if they want us to forget that he even had that video or had those videos up on Tuesday. And then when he comes, it's like, oh, crap, I forgot all about this guy. And now he's there. It kind of gives Rusev somewhat of momentum. He could probably, get that his wrestling going. Lana's doing her thing. I don't see Rusev being in Lana's match or interfering with it. Same way I don't see Rusev interfering in the men's Money in the Bank match. Because like Josh said, Baron Corbin is winning this more than likely, or we all want Baron Corbin to win this. And Rusev to attack or to interfere with Baron Corbin winning this match wouldn't really make sense because the whole time Rusev has been asking for a title shot. The champion. I mean, I think that would only make sense. So I'm going to have to go with Jinder Mahal winning this one. So definitely Rusev is coming out, and it will lead to a whole new feud and a whole new rivalry.
All right, next thing I wanted to bring up with you guys, what do you guys think will be the match of the night? And I know we've kind of discussed it on our road of predictions, but what do you think which match will be the main event for Money in the Bank? We'll start with Mark Rambo.
I want to go with the man. I want to go. Okay. Let's see. Let's start off with the women. Women Money in the Bank. First of its kind. Men's has a shitload of talent in their championship match. I don't think that's going to be really the match of the night. Who else do you have? You have the Usos. I'm gonna have to go with the men's Money in the Bank. One of those Money in the Bank matches are gonna be good. I just think considering who the female talent is in that match, it's not as loaded as it can be, but it's gonna be good. The reason I'm going with the men's is it's just gonna simply be more action, more dives, more flips, more, just grueling moves. I just see more of it in being in the men's. Don't get me wrong. I'm not underestimating. I'm not. I guess you say underestimating. I guess I don't know. Underestimating the women's match, but something's telling me it's gonna be the men's match, considering they have my favorite wrestler in there, and of course it's AJ Styles. Yeah, I'm going with the men's match. I think it's gonna be match of the night.
And you also think that match is gonna main event?
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, Kyron.
Well, I already told you guys what I think will be the main event. That's the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. The match of the night will probably be Naomi and Lana. I'm just joking. I'm not that stupid. Yeah, but seriously, I do think the match of the night will be the men's Money in the Bank too, because just the talent involved. Styles, Nakamura, Zayn, Owens, those four, and Ziggler, those five, and Corbin. He's underrated. If you ask me, he's not as good as those five, but he's still good. I think the talents of all those guys will be good. With the women's Money in the Bank, I think it'll be a good match. But I don't think it'll live up to the hype that a lot of people hyping it up to be. If I'm not hyping it up, I think it'll be a good match, and that's why I'm not expecting, match of the year quality, anything like that. Now, for the men's Money in the Bank, I am kind of expecting something to be a top 10 match of the year. I think you'll see things like in a women's Money in the Bank, Charlotte doing a moonsault off the top of a ladder, Styles or Zayn leaping doing a flip off the ladder. I can see a lot of good things happening in these two matches, but I feel like if you want to end on the best match possible, and it ain't gonna be Ziggler, it ain't gonna be Orton and Mahal. You want to end on the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. I think it'll be the best match of the night, and it should be the main event. A good 20-minute ladder match, lots of spots, but also hopefully some good character, good story too. And I think that's where you can get the most out of the men's Money in the Bank, which is why I think that should be the main event, and it will be the match of the night.
Great, Josh. All right, Josh, who do you have for your main event for Money in the Bank and your match of the night heading into the pay-per-view?
Well, I'll start with a somewhat rhetorical question. What's the most prestigious prize in the WWE? Is it the Money in the Bank briefcase, or is it the title? It's the title. Having a Money in the Bank briefcase is great, but it doesn't mean it's not a guarantee. Just because you get the Money in the Bank briefcase, ask Mr. Kennedy. It ain't no guarantee that you win and be champ. So you can't put, at least personally, you can't have the Money in the Bank match be the main event, because then that pretty much guarantees, well, then there's not going to be a cash in that night for the men. So I think what you do is you either lead off with one of the two, like maybe the women. I mean, WWE has this tradition now of giving women's matches the start point of the show, because this way, even if they're terrible, the show can only get better. So you're putting a lot of pressure on them to start the show off with a bang. But I think that's a great honor, and I like the fact that they've been doing that. However, I think both the Money in the Bank ladder matches have to happen before the women's championship match and the men's championship match, if for no other reason than to keep that aura of possibility around. Because if those matches have already happened, then you know that there's not going to be a cash in. But if you do the Money in the Bank matches first, that way, hey, there's a possibility that somebody could still cash in their Money in the Bank. But ultimately, it's still all about that belt. It's all about that prize. That's got to end the show. That's got to be the main event.
Exactly. I agree. Go ahead, Karen.
Josh, just because it's a title match does not mean it has to main event. Over the last few years, how many WrestleManias ended with a title match? sometimes ending with the title match, even if it is the title, isn't the best idea in the world, especially if said title match will be boring or boring to sit through. I mean, let's look at the last two. Let's look at WrestleMania 32. They ended on a WWE title match, but of all the matches, I thought that could have been one of the worst matches to end it on because it was such a bad match to begin with. I understand what you're saying. You know, because the title is the most prestigious thing on the show, you want to end on that. But at the same time, I don't think that this match should. I didn't even think Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton really should have ended at Backlash. I said that Styles and Owen should have, which is something Steve can vouch for me on. And that's not because for one, I'm not a big fan of either work to begin with. I agree with you said with Randy Orton being born. Once Mike will probably kill me for saying that, but I really don't care. But I don't think a title has to end a pay-per-view. I mean, Raw for the next. I mean, besides Great Balls of Fire coming up, Raw pay-per-views won't be really ended with a title match for the next few months anyway. So I don't see the problem with having a match that's not the title match and the pay-per-view.
No, the match doesn't always have to end a pay-per-view simply because it's the title. But for Money in the Bank, it has to, because the whole point of having the Money in the Bank briefcase is that you can cash in that briefcase anytime, including that same night. And so if you already have your championship match and then the Money in the Bank ladder match happens after that, well, then you know that there's not going to be another title change. You've essentially ruined that one aura of mystery out of your pay-per-view. But if you have the Money in the Bank matches first, then have your championship matches subsequent to that, the audience hey, is somebody going to come running out of the back? Is Baron Corbin going to come out and cash in and, on Jinder Mahal or on Randy Orton? Or is he just going to come out and kind of dangle the briefcase around, but then ultimately not cash in? You don't want to cheat the audience out of that potential plot point. So I agree with what you're saying as far as across the board. Yeah, you don't always have to end it with the championship match. No, of course not. But for Money in the Bank, it absolutely should for a storyline perspective.
There you go. I can't say it better myself. I agree 100%. I would say the WWE title match being the main event match of the night. I'm actually going to go with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I think it's going to start off the show. They're prepared for this big moment. They're prepared for this history-making moment that I think they're going to deliver above my expectations, your expectations, everything. The women are going to steal the show more than Dolph Ziggler has ever stolen the show in the past 2 years. So I have the women's Money in the Bank ladder match being the match tonight heading into the pay-per-view. Every title match being the main event. And also, if I would be able to place these matches, I would have a women's ladder match first, men's ladder match next, SmackDown Live Tag Team title match, women's title match, WWE title match. We have 3 hours and we have 5 matches. You probably might be adding a couple matches to the actual pay-per-view card, let alone having a kickoff show match being announced at some point between now and Sunday. But you think there might be another match or something added on the regular main card heading into the pay-per-view on Sunday. But that's the way, and that's the order exactly how I would do it, because exactly like Josh said, and I said earlier in the show, you have to have the briefcase matches first, so you have that cloud of doubt, cloud of thinking, like in our interactions between each other and others in the WWE universe and Twitter, as if there's going to be a cash-in. Will the outcome, even of the title matches, be different because of who won the Money in the Bank, a heel or face? That kind of thinking and getting our gears grinding even more so than already is and does for most of us in WWE universe. As we watch a pay-per-view event, so a pay-per-view that is as great as Money in the Bank, you definitely have to have the title match be your main event.
I hear what you said, Steve, about like how you would structure the pay-per-view and match by match. I don't agree with having 2 Money in the Bank matches back to back. Here's how I would do it. Women's Money in the Bank, I would put women's Money in the Bank first. I think it's a good way to open the show. And plus, they have the most approved, if you ask me. Next, I would probably do the tag team title match. Then the women's championship match. Then the WWE title match, and then end it with the men's Money in the Bank. That's just how I would do it. I would keep both Money in the Bank matches separate from each other, because that way, if the crowd, loses their minds in the one, and the next Money in the Bank is directly after that, what more can the crowd give? And the crowd would be dead. And sometimes a dead crowd. While I said time and time again, a terrible crowd can ruin the match. Sometimes a dead crowd can't do much for a match either.
Right. Understood. Yeah, I guess in my thing is structured that way just because of having then the briefcase matches right away. I guess if I had to have a filler between the briefcase matches, would be the SmackDown Tag Team title match, and then subsequent next briefcase match, and then women's title and men's title as well. Do you guys see any other matches being added to the main card, or just a match being added to the pre-show? Because the pre-show has to have a match, but you need some love. What say you, Mark?
I feel like it's a pretty half decent match card. I don't think they should add anything to it. It's just how well they perform with the superstars that are in the show. I feel like they could do some damage, but it's all on how the matches go. I feel like the show stealer and the match of the night is definitely going to be the men's Money in the Bank. Actually, I take that back. The match of the night will definitely be men's Money in the Bank. The show stealer will be, probably be what the hell is it called? The tag team match. I don't know why. Something, it's a little possible they could, knowing the Usos and knowing the New Day, they could wrestle, but they're more of a goofy trio. The Usos, their whole character gimmick changing. I feel like it was a good fit for them. That could really steal the show because, the Usos can perform. Obviously, we all know their kicks are freaking amazing. The high flying moves are great. And then you also have Kofi Kingston and you have Big E. Xavier Woods, in my opinion, is a god awful wrestler, but is a I know when I say this, I mean they could use him better. Don't get me wrong. The New Day was a great idea. At first, it was annoying, right? But people had to get used to it. Xavier Woods was in the Indies. I thought he was good in the Indies. That's just out of the three members in the New Day, the weak link. Let's be real.
Okay, I agree with that. But when you say the god awful wrestler, I think Woods is actually underrated. I think he's the weakest in ring of the three. But when you say he's god awful at wrestling, I disagree with that. I think he's really underrated because he gets the least amount of wrestling time of the three. When he does get good wrestling time, he's actually pretty good in the ring.
No, you're right. You're right. Too bad. I'm sorry.
Right, so sending the question over to Kyron as you were speaking anyways, do you think any other matches will be added to the show, or what match do you think should be added to the pre-show?
To be fair, I really don't know, and I honestly do not care because if they add a match to the pre-show at this point, there's no point in me watching it. I mean, I've already done my prediction video on my younger brother, and if they do a pre-show match, 9 times out of 10 we're gonna agree on it anyway. So I really couldn't care less if they make a pre-show match. Speaking of my prediction video, I just want to give you guys a heads up. As I said, I do bets for my brother on the picks. We actually came up with a forfeit, and if you guys want to see either me or this guy here get a whole bucket of ice water dumped on our heads, I recommend turning it on the channel soon because that's the forfeit of this pay-per-view. But I honestly couldn't care less if they make a match for the pre-show, no matter who's going to be in it, because all the matches I don't really watch the pre-show matches as it is. Even when I was at Extreme Rules, I barely paid attention to the pre-show, even though it was a decent match. But I don't care about the pre-show in general. So if they make a match this late, I really don't care. It'll probably be impromptu like Extreme Rules.
Josh?
I don't think there's any way that Breezango doesn't find their way onto the pre-show.
No.
Their act is just it's too popular with fans, and I think it would be to their detriment to not put them on something. I mean, SmackDown's ratings have been terrible as of late. This previous week, they had their lowest viewership since early April, just shy over 2 million viewers. The show hasn't done more than 2.3 million viewers since WrestleMania. So people keep saying, well, SmackDown's the better show. SmackDown's a better show. Well, the ratings tell a difference. And that's really what matters. You can look at people on Twitter who say they like SmackDown better, but advertisers and the people who actually put money into this show, they look at Nielsen ratings. And SmackDown ain't doing that.
Well,
so they need to come heavy with a good show. They need to get something positive to get a ratings bump in for that next show. Now, typically, a good pay-per-view, that's exactly what that means. It's going to give your show a ratings bump for the next day. The problem that I think is going to happen when we talk about best match of the night or something like that is I still have this fear we're going to get a watered-down version of a women's Money in the Bank ladder match, just like we got with a watered-down version of a women's Hell in the Cell match, which was terrible. It was awful. It was so boring and lame. And they tried to pass it off as, oh, this is like one of the greatest matches we've ever seen with women. They just broke a glass ceiling, another one, and now they've done a Hell in the Cell match. It was a glorified cage match. That's all it was. It wasn't a Hell in the Cell match. There was no difference between that and a typical cage match. And I fear that they're going to do something like that here. The addition of the ladders makes it at least something that they're forced to introduce. They can't get around using it. Whereas the Hell in the Cell, they never jumped off the cell. They never even used the cell as part of the match. But with Money in the Bank, you have to use the ladders to get it to the briefcase. Now, whether or not we're going to see any women take some big bumps, that's going to be the interesting part. I just don't know. And if they don't let them do that, then I think we get cheated out of something. So I think it behooves them to start off the show with that and let them take these bumps. These women are professionals. They're professional wrestlers in the biggest professional wrestling company in the world. So let them do what they are trained to do and let them take these falls. So I definitely think we're going to see Breezango on the pre-show. Who they're going to go against, I don't know. But at the very least, we might get a good fashion file segment out of it.
Maybe we'll simply I was just gonna say maybe we'll simply just get Breezango versus a clone or something like that for the show, or Hype Bros get their first match back on SmackDown Live in a pre-show match with the Breezango or somebody, who knows. And that way, if that is going to be the case for a pre-show match, certainly would be interesting to say the least. Kyron, any last thing to bring up before we move on from the pay-per-view?
Two things. One, when Josh talked about SmackDown rating, I agree with that. But just because one show isn't getting watched as much does not mean it has a better quality of matches. Let's be honest. It was a point from what was it? August to January where SmackDown was completely destroying what we're on terms of match quality and storylines. But yes, Raw was still getting better ratings because it's Raw. And now WWE took away Miz, Bray Wyatt, and Dean Ambrose, three of SmackDown's most important guys from SmackDown, put them on Raw because let's be honest, even though we don't want to admit it, no matter what side you're on, WWE still wants Raw to be better than SmackDown. So when SmackDown was starting to be better than Raw anyway because of quality and writing, WWE took away three of their most valuable guys. That's number one. And number two, I actually enjoyed that cell match between Charlotte and Sasha. I know a lot of people didn't, but in my review, I gave it a passing grade. I thought it was entertaining from Charlotte powerbombing Sasha off the side of the cell. And yes, the ending was terrible because she didn't go through the table because she's not really, heavy enough to the way Charlotte threw her. But from what I actually enjoyed that match. And, I do agree that I'm afraid too we might get a watered down ladder match too. I'm afraid of that. But, I'm willing to get my faith in WWE that they'll, give us what we want. And that's a good ladder match between these, 5 women. And I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on this. I think it'll be a good match.
Go ahead.
One thing I was going to say is I'm going to have to agree and disagree with you, Kyron, because don't get me wrong, the women's Hell in a Cell match was good, but it could have been better. I feel like it was so many botched moves, so many botched spots within that match. Let's say, for example, when they had the ladder inside of the cell, sorry, did I say ladder? Table.
You mean table?
Yeah, table inside of the cell. It is what they did in that with the table. It could have been so much better. It could have been so like, oh shit, this and that, and oh my god, did that really just happen? But the only thing that really caught everybody's attention was the fact that Sasha went through an announcer's table. That was pretty much it. Let's be real. I mean, she, other than Sasha being dragged around the ring by Charlotte, getting thrown onto a table, nothing was really that exciting. They could have been so much better. But I give them props because they broke the, it was first time, same as the first time for female Money in the Bank. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna have to disagree with you because it could have been a lot better, but it was good. for it to be his first time.
I agree with that.
Just saying, do something like that. It has to be better.
I thought it was good. Like it was good, but it should have and could have been better. I agree with that.
When we talk about match quality versus or show quality versus ratings, the difference is whether or not you think a show is good or whether you think a match is good. That's your opinion. Ratings are not an opinion. Ratings are fact. Those are numbers. And that's really what this all comes down to. The WWE is a business. At the end of the day, if you ask Vince McMahon, hey, do you care if the people like your product versus whether or not the ratings are good? He's going to pick the ratings every time because the ratings are what determines money. And this is all about making money. So we like to think that the way we view matches matters, but it really doesn't. It's not the way we as individuals view, it's the way the group views. And so if those millions of viewers aren't tuning in every week, then big things are going to go wrong. And so that's where SmackDown lies. And so many people like to think that SmackDown is the better show. Well, that you can debate that all day long. But the bottom line is that the numbers don't support that because the people simply aren't watching. And Raw should technically have lower numbers because it's a longer show. And you typically see a drop-off in the Raw, which is why they save all of their best stuff for the end, because they want to get a bump up in that third hour. But the tradition has been for them to drop. But they at least routinely get more than 3 million viewers a week. So that's 1 million more people who are watching those advertisers and getting those dollars cranking, which is what this all comes down to. I wish that both shows were good. I wish that both shows were generating at least 3.5 or maybe 4 million viewers a week. But there's a problem with oversaturation too. When you've got Raw, then SmackDown, then you've got NXT. Now Lucha Underground is back on Wednesdays. So you've got a lot of pro wrestling on television in 1 week. And just a lot of people get exhausted. There's just not a lot of time for it. So they DVR most of the time. That's how I watch it. Because
I watch it like that too.
I don't have the time to watch it live. So I can watch it later and take my notes. I can start and stop and do what I got to do. And that's just the preferred way for people to watch nowadays. So I wish that we could use match quality as a good indicator. But if that was true, then SmackDown would be doing a whole lot better than they are.
I agree with that. We as wrestlers, like you said, of course, like they look at like what show got viewed more. Raw. I mean, SmackDown only won in the ratings, I believe, like once or twice. I can remember. I might be wrong, but I remember at least once they did win in the ratings. But like we said, we as wrestling fans, we care most about match quality. Like I honestly, I know WWE's gonna look at, oh well, this show got more ratings, or people watch more when this is on or that. But I would rather get a great match, a good match, and good storytelling each week over like SmackDown, for example, whenever that's best. We got good matches, good stories. But with Raw at times, and a part of that is because it was 3 hours, and eventually in the third hour, you get tired. You get easily tired, especially if you are watching it live. And with SmackDown, I prefer a 2-hour show to a 3-hour show, unless it's a pay-per-view. I think because 2 hours is the perfect. That's what all I need. That's all I need out of a show is 2 hours. But in SmackDown help with that. But Raw, giving it 3 hours. And I think, like I said before, I said once, they don't use that third hour to their advantage. I mean, you got a whole cruiserweight division that needs better character development, and yet you're only giving them maybe 10 minutes, an episode. And I don't watch 205 Live to begin with. So why don't you give them extra time? Or you have 3 hours. Give them maybe 20 or 30 minutes to help flesh out more characters. But that's the problem. I think with Raw, they don't use that third hour to their advantage enough.
But I'm going to say one thing that's always been a problem for like the past probably year or two, maybe 3 years. WWE is getting too much TV time. At one point, if you think about it, it's Monday Raw, Tuesday SmackDown, 205 Live, Wednesday NXT. What the hell is up next? And then they have these. Let's see if we have the WWE Network, and they're telling you to watch this and that. It was at one point. Maybe I'm wrong. This is just what I think. It was at one point where Raw was a 2-hour show. SmackDown was a 2-hour show. They never even had it in NXT. And I'm not saying that NXT doesn't belong there. NXT is amazing. Sometimes it's better than Raw on some weeks, in my opinion. But what's supposed to happen, or what should happen, Raw needs to go back to 2 hours. That's what I think, Shaq. 3 hours is too much. Within those 3 hours, they're not doing anything. The first hour is the hottest hour, and it only goes downhill from there. Let's say, for example, I was looking at the ratings at one point. I think it was a Monday during the NBA Finals, and it was also Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, the first hour had roughly, I think, 2.63 million of the first hour. The second hour, it dropped to 2.4, and the third hour, it dropped 2.1. And the finals came on the second hour.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. So it's a clear time within the second and third hour, they're not doing anything to keep their ratings up. And it's like that on a regular basis. So honestly, the 3 hour thing, it was cool at one point. Now it just has to go back to 2 because it's a complete waste. And nobody stays up that long for the most part. It's
Don't give that trash out.
So I think the 2 hour Raw has to come back. And I think they should reconstruct the week that they have. It could be, I honestly think, if you want to have 205 Live, 205 Live should be its own show, not on the network. Because what it is, they're great wrestlers, but they're not getting the exposure like they should, and they're not getting the opportunity to showcase what they can really do with the time that they have. Because like Kyron said, it's only 10 minutes that they can really express themselves, let the fans know how they are, so to speak. But yeah, I just wanted to get that off my mind. Raw needs to go back to 2 hours, and 205 Live needs its own show.
But
Right.
you say Raw needs to go to 2 hours. It's not that easy because you don't. Regardless of, I agree, Raw should be 2 hours. If it was 2 hours, I definitely watch it more than DVR and every week and just watch bits of it. But the problem is this: they have a TV deal with USA that doesn't expire until 2019, I believe. So even if we wanted it to go to 2 hours, we still have to wait 2 more years for that. And I still don't think, WWE's gonna do it because like you said, Monday was the NBA Finals, Game 5, but now the finals are over with, and now WWE really doesn't have any real competition that's gonna take place till Monday Night Football. So, and even then, the third hour, from what I've heard, is still bringing them good revenue, and USA, from what I've heard, is still happy with what Raw is doing. So even though we as fans feel they should go to 2 hours, but WWE, besides that 15 weeks of Monday Night Football, and maybe every week and every now and then an NBA game is on, that's all Raw really has competing against them. So they're not worried about that. So yeah, I would love for Raw to go 2 hours, but it's not gonna do it. It's gonna still be 3 hours for the next 2 years. And they'll probably resign another 3 hour deal with USA when the time comes.
All right, here as I'm looking at the live chat, talking WWE with Jay, the host of the show. And earlier today, we did our prediction over there, as I'm part of that team on that channel, talking WWE with Jay. He was here in the chat. I don't know if he still is. He says, and I quote, "I'm on the kickoff match versus Mark Rambo. It's booked." So I guess Jay versus Mark.
I'll see you there, Jay.
Match at Money in the Bank. So I guess you guys have some flights that you have to catch here shortly to get there or be there for Sunday. But anyways, also showing down Boss Gamer Bra, saying hi and also saying that Lana will lose. Mr. NGT 1990 saying 205 Live show start Raw. So maybe just saying Cruiserweight should start off Raw during each Monday Night Raw. Also next, I see Shinsuke Nakamura or AJ Styles to win the men's Money in the Bank ladder match again from Boss Gamer Bra. For there, Mr. NTG 1990 saying for his prediction, Corbin for the win. I certainly like that. Obviously, you guys know for there. So I just wanted to jump in there, give them shout outs, share their thoughts. It's like I said, whoever's able to or cares to that's here live for any of my shows. This show, my NFL show that'll be coming when the NFL season obviously gets here, and anything else that I do with my live videos. If you have the time to not only be watching live, but leave a comment, I obviously will be stating it as short or long the comment is. I will let it be heard. Also, Boss Gamer Bra saying Charlotte winning for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match as they're catching up with the matches, given their predictions as we already have done so. But like I said, I wanted to do that as that's the type of host I am. It's the type of YouTuber I am. If people are taking time out of their day not only to watch, to like, to other things, and obviously subscribe to the channel, and also simply giving their comments during the live feed, I'm definitely going to take short seconds out of my day to do the same and read their comments live on air as well. That should be doing it, obviously, for Money in the Bank. The only one thing I wanted to bring up, since Josh is here, because it's like a full moon. It doesn't come all the time with Josh being on the show. But I want to get your thoughts on two of the major storylines on Monday Night Raw, WWE's flagship show, WWE's #1 show in their eyes. And I guess with the ratings, that is the case as well, as Josh pointed out earlier. But what are your thoughts on the two main storylines? Who do you think is the ones attacking Enzo and Big Cass, and Kurt Angle and the texting situation? Where do you think each of them go? Do you think they're separate? To me, I think they're actually intertwined, and in the end, it's all going to mesh itself together. But what do you think both of them are going to go?
I think it's, first of all, with the Enzo and Cass thing, I think it's Big Show all the way. I mean, Big Show is one of those guys who's been around forever, and not many other dudes can fell someone like Big Cass realistically. And so, there's not many other people unless they're going to throw a Braun Strowman curveball, which is not going to happen for Enzo and Cass anyway. And I kind of like the fact that Big Show is throwing himself in there, and you can already see the wedge forming between Enzo and Cass, because it's inevitable that they're going to break up, and Vince McMahon loves big guys. And so Big Cass kind of breaking out on his own and doing his own thing gives him an opportunity for a good singles run. And I think putting Enzo with Big Show gives Enzo a chance to be with somebody new. It also gives Big Show a little bit more visibility. I mean, he's just kind of been around. He's a real reliable guy. He's a loyal guy. And that's the reason why he still has a job. And he's in fantastic shape. I mean, his match with Shaq never really played out for WrestleMania. So he got in fantastic shape. Not only not to be able to be showcased, but at least they can put him in some kind of compelling storyline with somebody like Enzo Amore. His Big Show was never the greatest talker on the mic. He was okay, but he was never as rapid fire as Enzo can be. So I think they can both benefit from that. As far as the mystery texter and all this stuff, I mean, honestly, I wasn't really that interested in it. For all I know, it could be Vince McMahon. I mean, it'd be a total cop out for it to be the boss and for him to be the one texting Kurt Angle and all that stuff. But I don't know. I'm at least interested to see what the WWE wants me to do with it, or is it going to be another storyline that just kind of goes nowhere, like Vince's secret safe with all these compromising things that Shane McMahon supposedly had on him that just we all conveniently forgot about after that WrestleMania. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not. It's not really affecting many other storylines, so I'm not terribly interested in it as of yet.
Okay, yeah, for me, I'll also throw it to Kyron and Mark Ramble, but I'll give my thoughts here. To me, I think it's all woven in. First, I like that they're using the announcer, Corey Graves. He can't wrestle anymore, sure. It won't lead to a Corey Graves-Kurt Angle match. I understand that. But the fact that they're using Corey Graves, a former WWE superstar in his own right, obviously was always good on the mic, in my opinion. So to have him intertwined in that storyline is certainly a good thing for me. And I think how I see everything being intertwined is because I see Corey Graves, and maybe this is just me overthinking or overbooking or wishful thinking, but Corey Graves being behind it with Stephanie McMahon. This is a way to get Stephanie McMahon back on WWE TV, get the commissioners of Raw actually back on television, then Stephanie rewarding Corey Graves after finding out in a twist Corey Graves was behind on the inside. Corey Graves takes Kurt Angle's job. So now Corey Graves is the Raw GM. We have two heels in the authority of Raw. Like on SmackDown Live, we have two faces in the authority there. Then with Cass and Enzo, I still think it's Big Cass. I think Big Cass is the one attacking Enzo. I think they're going to have them split. And there, I think it's, and even more so how it could be is with Big Cass with the Revival, doing it as a team there. And a stable being formed with the Revival, Big Cass, and Corey Graves being, and also technically in a way Stephanie McMahon having like a new authority team. Remember they had in the past Randy Orton, others. the Authority team, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Big Show, Kane in that round. So maybe something like that this time, except, excluding Triple H. You have Corey Graves there instead of Triple H. So that's how I see it. I might be crazy. It might not happen at all, but that's just my thinking of how I think it's intertwined, how it's all connected together. I in no way did I think it could be Big Show. If it is ending up being Big Show, I'd be surprised 100% if it's Big Show, because I think it's either Big Cass alone or the Revival alone, or Big Cass and the Revival, as I stated and explained there in my idea. So that's how I see it, and that's how I see it all intertwined together. If it does happen that way, the two major storylines of Raw actually interconnected and go that way, at least in a way of my thinking, then kudos to the Raw creative team to actually doing something creative on Raw, if that is the case. Be like SmackDown Live and actually use your superstars, actually have really compelling storylines on your dang show. Even though it does seem like with Nielsen rating that Raw is having more numbers than SmackDown Live, which then only gives their creative team just to continue to be lazy. But if that's not the case, and we actually have what I think or could be the case, as outlandish as it may sound from what I just stated, that certainly would show to me personally, and in my opinion, that Raw and their creative team actually know what the hell they're doing and actually put something together that was so crazy, so interesting, something that most will not see coming, and for me would just have a big grin on my face, because that is something that I have been lacking for me on the Raw brand. So certainly that'd be interesting in that sense. Let's set it to Kyron and Mark Ramble. First, Kyron, what are your thoughts on the two big storylines of Raw? Do you think they intertwine, or do you think they're just separate? And who do you think has dealing with both of them?
Well, first off, I kind of agree with you said when you say they're kind of intertwined. Brian Zane from Wrestling Regret brought up the same thing. How was it 2 weeks ago when Kurt left out of the building? Miz was walking down the hallway, and that's when they saw Big Cass laying on the floor. So you had three storylines all connected in a way, and between who attacking Enzo and Cass and who the stuff with Kurt. Like everyone has pointed out, the one thing that both have in common is Corey Graves, the best commentator in WWE at the moment. He's the one thing we all that both have something to do with, because he hates Enzo and he's the one that showed Kurt the text. My fear is that both of these storylines will just be cop-outs. When it comes to Kurt, it'll just be Stephanie, and then he and Stephanie will just feud over who's going to be controlling Raw over the next half a year. Then at WrestleMania, he faces Triple H for control of Raw. And as for Enzo and Cass, even though I really can see it happening, they'll probably just reveal that neither one of them attacked the other, nor Big Show, but it was just a revival, and they'll just start a feud between the Revival and Enzo and Cass. And if you ask me, I think Revival will work more than that, because they're the best tag team in wrestling. I want to see them competing for the tag team championships against Sheamus and Cesaro. That's what I want to see from the Revival. But I don't think that neither of these storylines will end, climactically. They'll end anticlimactic, like a lot of things with potential does. I predict the Revival attack Enzo and Cass, and we're gonna get that feud for the next few months. And Stephanie's behind these texts, and Corey Graves just go back to commentary.
In my opinion about the situation, I think it's more of like a distraction for Kurt Angle, because we all know that Stephanie McMahon is definitely a part of this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Stephanie McMahon is a part of this. It is the typical Stephanie move. It is the typical, I guess you could say, typical Stephanie McMahon move. What's gonna happen is, this is what I think. Do I think Corey Graves is a part of it? No. Will I think Corey Graves play a I guess you could say a villainous, so to speak, role? Possibly. I'm not gonna say he isn't, but him as a I guess you could say a commentator, if you could call him out a babyface or hero, he would be more so babyface commentator, so to speak. I know it's kind of weird to say. But yeah, it's there's definitely Stephanie McMahon involved. But I think what's gonna happen is Triple H is gonna come, and we're gonna have a match. We're gonna have Kurt Angle, and we're gonna have Triple H going at it. I honestly want that to happen at Mania, honestly, because I feel like that would be pretty cool. But considering how early it is and considering where we're at right now at this stage of WWE, it could happen in SummerSlam. I'm never say never. Kurt Angle is in good shape. Triple H, we all know, is in good shape as well. But yeah, it's Stephanie all the way. Stephanie's playing mind games with this dude, Kurt Angle. Corey Graves is just, I guess you could say, he's just the unfortunate one in the situation, so to speak. Do I think he could play a role in it? Yes. But we don't know right now. We have no idea right now. But Stephanie McMahon is written all over this.
All right, and again, going back to the chat, excuse me, Ronnie S. saying Mark Henry attacking Cass, Boss, Gamer Bra, The Revival, and Big Show attacking Enzo and Big Cass, Mr. and TG 1990 Vince and his big muscle fetish. I see Triple H as the guy who texted Kurt, and I think they will break up Enzo and Cass, and Enzo turns heel. And we're also saying The Miz and Maurice will break up at some point, I guess. Assuming that they're on television. So there are their thoughts on everything that we've been discussing here in the last couple of minutes. And that should do it here for the episode. Thanks to everybody that has watched live. Those that we watched on archived. Yes, I did share the link to this episode here in the episode. But for everybody, part of our pay-per-view interaction thread there of 32 right now we have. Hopefully they are able to join us for the Money in the Bank on Sunday and also be able to watch this episode later on before we get to the pay-per-view event itself. Let everybody have their last words, promote their stuff, their Twitter handles, how else to find them on social media. So let's start off with the guest. Let's start off with Josh.
Right on. Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you. It's a pleasure talking to you guys. This was a lot of fun. You can follow me on Twitter at Chief Joshiola. I'm one of the illustrious 32. I'm also a writer for Daily DDT. It's a fan-sided website, dailyddt.com. Put out articles every month and I'm contracted for 8. So I took June off. So you'll start seeing my articles again in July. And then I do well for the TYT Sports, for the Young Turks Sports Network. I'm going to be dropping a couple of videos for them that we're going to put out over the July 4th holiday. So look for those on their YouTube page. So thanks again, guys.
Well, we're going to have you for sure, Kyron, co-host. Let people know where to find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Splash Road Kyron. Find me on YouTube at Kyron Chase. I make videos about WWE. I don't want to say what else I do videos on. It's kind of embarrassing. I do videos on WWE. You can find me on Instagram, Splash Road Kyron. All my social media. Be quiet. All my social media, Splash Road Kyron. Yeah, that's about it. I love being here. Sorry I was here late, but work, and I'm gonna miss the first hour to pay-per-view. So you will not see me in Lectures 32 for the first hour because of work again. I had the night shift, but I will probably come in around 9:30. But next time I'll hopefully be here next week.
All right, yeah, awesome. Always enjoy to have you. Don't be ashamed of the things you do on your channel. I know I actually will be doing a video doing my live reaction to a 15-second new opening for a TV show, Star versus the Forces of Evil, animated TV show on Disney Channel. So, there's things on my channel that maybe not everybody would care about. But anyways, Mark, where can people find you on Twitter and otherwise, and your channel?
You could find me on Twitter at Mark is Rambo. The M, the I, and the R are all cats. My Instagram is Live Like Ram. So that's pretty basic. And yeah, you already know I love being on the show. Anything wrestling related. It doesn't even have to be wrestling. It doesn't even have to be WWE. It could be anything. I'm a really big wrestling fan in general. So anything wrestling related, I'm all in. Thanks for inviting me, Steve. I'm always here, man.
Yes. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Again, welcome to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to these guys' channel, TY Sports, DDT as well. Follow them on Twitter and their own Twitter handles as well. Hope you guys all have a great weekend. Enjoy Money in the Bank. And as always, take care.
Peace out.